champion. The impossible has happened. It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, KCAL 9 presents the Dodgers as they take on the Cincinnati Reds. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Saturday night to you, wherever you may be. Stop the presses. Here it comes. Manny Ramirez returns. He'll be in left field tonight, and we'll see how that experiment turns out as the Dodgers and Reds play for the second time in the three-game series. They also split 6 in Cincinnati, and, of course, the Reds, by winning last night, snapped a 12-game losing streak here at Dodger Stadium. The pitching, well, it'll be Chad Billingsley going with 9-7 record, 3-2 lifetime against the Reds. And for Dusty's boy, Johnny Cueto, who had a suspension, and he rode that out, he's an 11-game winner. He'll bring quite a challenge to the Dodgers to the mound tonight. But the big one, Manny's back, and we'll be back right after this. Brought to you by Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu any time of the day. And by Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Saturday evening. Welcome to Dodger Stadium in the Dog Pound, as we call it, Bark in the Park. And thousands of folks paraded their pet dogs on the track around before the game. And hopefully they're all very good-natured and calm and will enjoy the ball game. As for the Dodgers, going up against a very tough ball club, but it marks the return tonight of Manny Ramirez in left field. So we will see what that does to spark the Dodger offense against Johnny Cueto, who's one of the better pitchers certainly in the National League. Here's the way the Red Hot Reds line up. They've won 7 straight, and they're ahead of the Cardinals by 4.5. Brandon Phillips at second base, Drew Stubbs in center, and Joey Votto at first. Scott Rowland at third, Johnny Gomes in left, Jay Bruce in right, Ramon Hernandez behind the plate, Paul Yanish the shortstop, and Johnny Cueto on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, Chad Billingsley. Billingsley 9-7 with the league. And for the 26-year-old, he is 2-0 against the Reds here. He is 1-2 against Cincinnati in Ohio. And, of course, he's from the state, from Defiance, Ohio. And lifetime, he is 3-2. A couple of notes on games. The Cardinals recovered and beat the Giants today 5-1. That was Tim Lincecum and Chris Carpenter, and Carpenter was dominating. So the Giants lose, and they had their ace Lincecum on the mound. And Lincecum, by the way, allowed only 5 1/3 innings and gave up 4 runs. The Brewers are leading the Padres again in the 8th inning, so we will keep an eye on that one. And meanwhile, we'll get this ball game underway as Brandon Phillips will start it off. Brandon Phillips wore out the Dodgers last night. He had 3 hit in his first 3 at-bats, drove in all 3 runs, hitting .285. Brandon is one of those solid players who doesn't really get enough publicity. He was with the Indians for a couple of years. But 3 years ago, to give you an idea, he had 30 home runs and 32 stolen bases. Billingsley delivers. Brandon shows bunt, takes ball 1. Now, there are 31 members of the 30-30 club, but only 2 are second basemen. One, Alfonso Soriano, who's now a left fielder, and the other, Brandon Phillips. The 1-0 pitch swung on and fouled back. And his name, by going 30-30, is linked with 2 of the all-time great Reds, Eric Davis and Barry Larkin. So for Phillips to lead off, go 3 for 3, knock in all 3 last night, what else is new? He's that kind of a player. Right-hand hitter, bent at the knees and waist. And back comes Billingsley, and is a high chopper to shortstop. Carroll gets it good enough and throws him out. And we have 1 away here in the first inning. Take a look at the Dodgers with the leather. A little bit of a change tonight with the return of Manny Ramirez in left. Kemp and Ethier fill out the outfield. Then Blake, Carroll, Terrio, and Jay Gibbons playing first. They sit tired James Loney down. Brad Osmus right back to work again, handling Billingsley. So with 1 away, with the temperature a lovely 78 degrees, here is Drew Stubbs hitting .237. He promptly bangs one up the middle, and just like that, a base hit. One of the things we mentioned last night, and you really have to keep an eye on that, is the trademark of the Reds. They are very young and very aggressive. They probably hit the first pitch more than any other team in the league. And they're also given the green light by Dusty, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1. So he turns them loose, and it's paid off. They're 4.5 games in front of the Cardinals. To repeat, the Cardinals beat the Giants today 6-1. So here is Joey Votto, who is certainly a leading candidate for the MVP award. Joey takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Votto hitting .320, 28 home runs, 81 runs batted in, and he has handled Billingsley pretty well in the past. Votto 6 for 13. That would be a .462 batting average.
Chad ready. A look over at first. Back to Votto, who fouls it back. And the count to Joey 0-2. Votto extremely strong. He has enough power going the other way to satisfy a right-hand batter. He's from Canada, had laser surgery to improve his eyesight, and never wanted to play hockey. Strictly a baseball man and well put together. 6'3" and 220. Billingsley throws to first. Jay Bruce back on the bag. Bruce has stolen 5, but he's also been caught 3, so it doesn't make him that kind of a threat. And Dusty might very well want to keep Gibbons on the bag and open up the right side for Votto. Out of a stretch goes Billingsley. Now the right-hander, very deliberate. The pitch to Votto is swung on and fouled away off to the left out of play. The Cardinals swept the Reds. There was a lot of talk going on between Brandon Phillips and how he hated the Cardinals. They had that near battle after Brandon Phillips tapped Yadier Molina on the shin guards after saying he hated the Cardinals. A lot of pushing and shoving. Johnny Cueto involved and was suspended for a couple, but he returns tonight. 0-2 the count. Votto hits a ground ball to the right side. Up with it is Terrio. They get 1, and that's all. So they get the force play, 4-6. And with 2 down, the batter will be Scott Rowland. After the Cardinals swept the Reds, you would think a lesser club would have buckled. But the Reds pulled themselves together, and all they've done in the last 21 games, after going 0-3 against the Cardinals, win 16 of the next 18. That's a sign of quite a club. It's also a team that has only lost 3 games on the road since the postgame, the All-Star game. They are 13-3 on the road since. Scott Rowland hits a little roller up along third. It's fair, it's fair, it's foul, and Casey Blake keeps it foul, and the count 0-1. So Rowland, the veteran, they say that he's a very strong presence on the ball club, and that is one of the things that Dusty has. He has some veterans like a Rowland or an Arthur Rhodes. Arthur Rhodes, a 41-year-old All-Star. And then, of course, a lot of youngsters, especially a very young pitching staff. And the Dodgers saw Homer Bailey last night, Johnny Cueto tonight. Then the veteran, and that would be Arroyo, Bronson Arroyo, tomorrow afternoon. He'll go against Clayton Kershaw. Homer Bailey, actually David Bailey Jr. The Homer is just a nickname, kind of a bad nickname for a pitcher, but he's living well with it. And boy, was he impressive last night. Wow. So mark that name. He could very well become an ace and a big star. 0-1 the count to Scott Rowland, batting .299. Billingsley ready and deals, and the fastball gets the inside corner, and the count to Scotty 0-2. Rowland out of Jasper, Indiana. He was described by Ned Yost, the Milwaukee manager, as the perfect baseball player. His tenacity, his preparation, the way he played, everything fundamentally sound. And he's been a big leaguer since 1996 with the Phillies. Strike 2 pitch on the way. Billingsley comes back to his hitter, and it's hit foul down the right field line, slicing as it goes and back into the lower deck. Rowland, by the way, has 18 home runs, 68 runs batted in, and he's big enough to hit it out anywhere. He's 6'4" and 240. Rowland once remarked about Joey Votto. He said, Votto has so much power, I can pull the ball and hit it out of the ballpark. He can go the other way and hit it out of the ballpark. Here's the strike 2 pitch, and there goes the runner, Votto, and he's going to beat the throw on a bounce. It was also dropped by the cover man, and that's Terrio. So a stolen base for Joey Votto, and Rowland now trying to pick him up. 1-2. The throw by Ausmus was short by about 10 feet. The tag was up on the face, but Terrio dropped the ball anyway. And for Votto, who played with a pretty heavy beard last night and went 0 for 4, including grounding into a double play, he has gone to the blade tonight. He's clean shaven. The pitch to Rowland down and away. 2-2 the count. So Chad Billingsley Got Phillips, gave up the single to Stubbs. Votto forced him. Now Votto steals second. For Joey Votto, with everything else that he does, he has now stolen 10 out of 14. And he can take a pretty good lead with Scott Rowland at the plate. Billingsley out of his stretch. Rowland waits. Terrio fakes to the bag. And the pitch is pulled foul outside of third and down the line. When you talk about Rowland and power, he hit 31 home runs twice. Once for the Phillies and once the combination Phillies and Cardinals. He was with the Phillies from 96 into 2002. Then he went from the Cardinals that year through 07. Spent about a year and a half in the American League with the Blue Jays and then came to the Reds. So Votto at second, 2 out, first inning, no score. Billingsley trying to win his 10th. Reds trying to win a series from the Dodgers. Can you believe they have not won a series from the Dodgers since 2004? Rowland fouls it back. Still 2-2. But of course, when Cincinnati won last night, that broke a streak. Dusty's boys, and actually it wasn't only his boys, they had lost 12 in a row here. The last time they had won a game at Dodger Stadium was July of 2005. And in case you wonder, yes, Dusty still uses that toothpick in his mouth. Did it when he played, does it when he manages. I asked him about it tonight. He had 2 on the desk saying, here, I have a backup. He'll work that wood all night long. His son is with him. Remember the little boy who was scooped up at home plate during the World Series? Well, he's getting bigger, and he's traveling with his dad. 2-2 the count to Scott Rowland. Votto away from second. Here comes Billingsley and misses inside. He hit that corner once, but not the second, and the count goes all the way 3-2. Waiting on deck, Johnny Gomes, who has been in a terrific slump. He's 1 for 19. So 2 out, 3-2 the count to Rowland. Big right hand batter waiting. Billingsley from a stretch. 3-2 pitch is swung on, popped up. Terrio angling out into shallow right field and makes the catch for the out. No runs, 1 hit, a man left, and at the end of half an inning, Reds nothing, Dodgers coming up. Is in the lineup, and he'll bat third. So the Dodger lineup starts off with Ryan Terrio, then Andre Ethier and Manny. Jay Gibbons playing first base. Gibbons has made 75 career starts at first base, but he has not played the position since 2005. He's followed by Matt Kemp, Casey Blake, Jamie Carroll, Brad Osnes, and Chad Billingsley. On the mound for Cincinnati, Johnny Cueto. And they say one of the reasons that Cueto is 11-3 is he's in the best shape of his life. Well, we can attest to that. Yesterday afternoon, early, we saw Johnny Cueto running the stairs here at Dodger Stadium, all the way in the top level, up and down, working his way to the dugout. And to run the stairs here, you've got to have strong wheels, as the players say, and obviously he has. He's working on Theriot, gets a strike, and that balances things. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ryan Theriot last night shocked everybody when he bunted for a base hit to score Jamie Carroll. The 1-1 pitch in there for a strike, 1-2. Joe Torre, when asked about it, said no, Ryan did it on his own. Johnny Cueto is only 5'11". He's about 185. His next pitch is off the plate. He's 24 years old. He's from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican. And the people in Ohio call him Little Pedro. The reason is Bronson Arroyo in 2008 referred to his stuff, saying it's like Pedro Martinez, fastball inside, ball 3. Quote Arroyo, I mean, you're talking 1999 Pedro Martinez stuff. I can't think of anybody else in my lifetime to compare him to. Johnny is Pedro at the peak of his career. 3-2 pitch, sliced to right field. Bruce coming over and makes the catch for the out. So Theriot, a drive to right, 1 away, and the batter will be Andre Ethier. Andre Ethier last night lined hard to right field and then struck out twice and flied to left. So Andre's fighting it, and Manny Ramirez on deck. Andre batting .297. He has 18 home runs, 68 runs batted in. We're in the bottom of the first inning, no score. Cueto turns on the rubber, delivers, and it's foul back, and the count 0-1. Cueto also has an honor. He is the first player to make the Reds Major League team from the club's baseball academy in the Dominican Republic. First one. At 5'11", you might think, well, he's kind of a sharpshooter, but he's not. He is a power pitcher, and it's probably banged into center field for Andre Ethier and a base hit. So Ethier gets a power fastball, promptly singles to center, and now Manny Ramirez coming back, and we'll get a welcome cheer from the crowd. When asked before the game, how do you think Manny would do after just a couple of games in Single A? And Joe Torre's answer was, we're going to find out. So no one really knows how he'll play, but he checks in hitting .317 with 8 home runs, and he takes a strike. 39 runs batted in. And of course for Cueto, young fella out of the Dominican Republic, Manny would certainly be a rather surprising win if he can nail him. 0-1 the count. Cueto comes back and jumps it in there. 0-2 the count. We were talking to some of the broadcasters of the Reds, Marty Brennaman, Chris Welch, talking about Homer Bailey last night, saying how impressive it was watching that ball come out of his hand. It was effortless. Pitch to Manny down and away, a hard slider, 1-2. And both the broadcasters said, when do you see Cueto? He's more advanced than Homer Bailey. Cueto at 5'11", a power pitcher, and as the scouts say, his pitches have late life. Just about on the plate before they do something. Manny waiting, 1-2. Cueto at the belt. Johnny delivers, slider off the plate, and the count 2-2. Last year, left-handers hit .250 with 15 home runs against Cueto. Right-handers hit him up for a .274 average and 9 home runs. So he struggled, 20-25, and one reason they said was he was fatigued. Nothing else wrong with him, but he just wasn't in the proper shape. This year he is. 2-2 pitch is swung on, fastball on the hands, and down goes Manny. And that was 95, so that's a long way from the Island Empire. Major League fastball in there around the knees, and down he goes. So 2 out in the first inning, Ramirez back to the dugout, and the batter is Jay Gibbons. Gibbons playing first base, checking in at the plate. Appeared as a pinch hitter last night. Had a 12-pitch at bat and walked. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now. Jay shies away from a pitch up and in. 1 ball and no strikes. In looking at Cueto, Casey Blake jumps out at you. He's 3 for 4 with a home run against him. Ryan Theriot was 10 for 26 against him. Reed Johnson 3 for 8. Kemp on deck 2 for 6. So Cueto out of a stretch, and the 1-0 pitch way outside, ball 2. Couple of things about Cueto, and I guess the scales have balance. Number 1, he's 3rd in the National League in wins lost. In other words, he left the game in a position to win, and the bullpen gave it up. However, before you feel sorry for him, he also winds up with 5 losses saved. So that balances the book. The pitch to Gibbons off the plate, 3-0 the count. When Cueto comes up to hit, the Dodger infield is well advised. He has a couple of base hits, bunts for hits. And he's been dynamite if the Reds score 3 runs. He's 11-1 when they score 3, but he's low to Gibbons, and he walks him. So the Dodgers have 2 on, 2 out, first inning, and Matt Kemp coming up. The other feeling you have about Johnny Cueto, as he's having a little trouble here in the first inning, ready to face Matt Kemp. Johnny Cueto has allowed just 1 earned run in the 7th through the 9th. That would be a total of 10 innings during that stretch. His earned run average from the 7th inning on is 0.9. So get him early if you can get him. So Cueto working on Matt Kemp. Matt batting .254, 19 home runs, 67 runs batted in. He pays Ramon Hernandez a visit before he checks in, just as Jay Gibbons did. And the first pitch to Matt off the plate, ball 1. Now remember too that Cueto, having been suspended, has not pitched since August the 10th. So he figures to be a little rusty, a little bit out of sync, and the Dodgers are hoping to catch him early. The 1-0 pitch Kemp takes, and that's low, ball 2. 2-0 the count. So Cueto struggling a little bit here in the first inning. He got Theriot on a fly ball to right. Ethier spanked a fastball to center for a base hit, and after he struck out Ramirez, he walked Gibbons. 2 balls and no strikes to Matt Kemp. Cueto ready and deals. High fastball foul back. Another thing that the Reds broadcaster Chris Welch was talking about, that Johnny Cueto's fastball up and away, he has not given up a hit yet on that pitch. And you just saw Matt Kemp foul it off. 2-1 the count to Matt. So the high hard one away has been a payoff pitch for Johnny Cueto. Spells that name Cueto. 2-1 pitch is a check swing. They look, no swing. Angel Campos at first, and the count goes to 3-1 to Matt Kemp. And again, a meeting with Ramon Hernandez, who's a veteran catcher. No doubt one reason why many of the hitters come up and say hello. Ramon has been around. He's been with the A's, the Padres, the Orioles, and the Reds. In fact, no wonder he talked to Gibbons. They were teammates with the Orioles. So Ramon in a crouch behind the plate. 3-1 the count, and the pitch from Cueto is inside to load him up for Casey Blake. So Johnny Cueto is struggling. Brian Price, the pitching coach, going out to try to help as the Dodgers load him up. Another interesting thing about the Cincinnati Reds would be the bases loaded. The Reds have 5 grand slams that they've hit. But would you believe their opposition has hit 6 grand slams? So the Reds have been involved in 11 grand slams this year. To put it in perspective, the Dodgers have been involved in 2. So Casey Blake, with the bases loaded, 2 out, first inning, no score. He has 4 in his career. Last one he hit a couple of years ago when he was with Kansas City, against Kansas City. So Casey checking in with Ethier at third, Gibbons at second, Kemp at first. Ethier singled, the other 2 got there on walks. Cueto now turns on the rubber. John delivers. Fastball misses. Ball 1. So he is struggling with control. He's throwing hard. 95, 96. Coming into the game, Cueto, 44 walks and 102 strikeouts. The 1-0 pitch on the way. That one is off the plate. Another fastball, and he's behind 2-0. No score, bottom of the first inning. Blake hitting .247. 12 home runs, 48 runs batted in. Cueto in some trouble. This will be his 25th pitch. And the 2-0 pitch in for a strike with a slider and the count 2-1. Last night, Carlos Monasterios made 25 pitches, followed by 27 pitches, followed by an early leave. The 2-1 pitch waved at and missed. Fastball way off the plate and down. And the count 2-2. So the deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 3 on, and no score. Dodgers do very well against the Western Division. They're 1 game above 500 against the Central. And the 2-2 pitch to Casey Blake is taken just off the plate. Boy, that was close. Tough pitch to take, but Casey did. So we've gone as far as we can go. 3-2, 2 out with the bases loaded. Cueto goes back of the rubber, puts his arms high in the air, heaves a big sigh. Now pulls at the bill of the cap and gets back up on top. Ethier at third, Gibbons at second, Kemp at first. Runners go, and it's fouled away. So they'll crank up the merry-go-round and try it again. Full count to Casey Blake. Dodgers trying to get the jump, and for Dusty, watching and sweating out is young Johnny Cueto. Cueto trying to recover. Remember, he's only 24. So a lot of young pitchers in the series with Kershaw tomorrow. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Runners go, and it's very high. Ball 4, and he's walked 3 to force in a run. So Blake gets a run batted in. Kemp goes to second. Gibbons goes to third. Bringing the run in is Andre Ethier, and the Dodgers lead 1-0. So Cueto obviously rusty from the bit of a layoff, missing a turn. Now he has to face Jamie Carroll. So now it's Gibbons, Kemp, and Blake out there as Carroll checks in, hitting .284. Infield back, right field shortened up, and the first pitch to Jamie inside, ball 1. So Cueto really laboring here. 26 pitches, and he's not out of the jam. Carroll with 19 runs batted in. Cueto straightens up, checks the runners, right-handed deals, drops it in for a strike, and the count 1-1. So it's interesting, and it feels like he can get the slider over easier than he can the fastball. Maybe feeling too strong, and that happens where he's overthrowing. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Slider off the plate. 2-1. That was one thing Dusty Baker talked about Cueto. He said he's been working awfully hard. He's in the best shape of his career, but he said he might have trouble in the early going, overthrowing, because he's so well rested and so strong. And I would guess that's his problem right now. Carroll is the 7th man he has faced, and the Dodgers lead 1-0. 2-1 the count to Carroll, and the pitch from Cueto is a broken bat hit up the middle. On it, the step on the bag is Giannis, and that's that. So Jamie Carroll breaks his bat. That slowed up the flight of the ball, and it allowed Giannis to get it and step on the bag for a force. And at the end of an inning, 1-0 Dodgers. pitches and only 14 strikes. So the Dodgers got one, and now Billingsley going to work against Johnny Gomes, then Jay Bruce and Ramon Hernandez. Gomes is 1 for 19, and there are those who watch him play every day. He's a right-hand batter. They say that there's a number on which he is fixated, and he might be trying too hard. The problem is he has 13 home runs this year, no problem there. He has 99 home runs in his career, and a lot of people think, well, he's trying so hard to get 100. He takes a fastball for a strike, and the count 1-1 to John. Gomes out there in left field. Now Billingsley comes back 1-1. It's swung on and missed. Johnny is from San Francisco. He makes his home in Petaluma, and he went to Santa Rosa Community College. Signed by the Devil Rays and started his big league career in '03. The 1-2 pitch on the way. Fastball on the hands, foul back, so he's still there. Johnny's brother Joey played in the Padres system. John 6'1", 225, 30 years old. The 1-2 pitch swung on, fouled away. For Gomes, who spells that last name Gomes, came up with the Devil Rays after playing with Durham. From '03 through '07, he was with the Rays. Then again in '08, came to the Reds last year. Right hand hitter waiting, and the 1-2 pitch swung on and missed. Dropped at the plate. House missed plenty of time and throws him out at first. So Gomes strikes out. One away. Strikeout number 1 for Billingsley. Pitch in the dirt, and Gomes went after it. Now the batter is Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce, playing right field, last night struck out twice, walked, and fouled out. Jay hitting .265, 13 home runs, 49 runs batted in, and he takes off the plate, ball 1. Bruce, another young ball player. The Reds are a fine mixture of not rookies but young players and veterans. He strikes one right into the glove of Matt Kemp in dead center field. So with 2 down, the batter will be Ramon Hernandez. So 2 outs, second inning. Dodgers holding on to a 1-0 lead. And the catcher from Venezuela, Caracas to be exact, Ramon Hernandez, 34 years old, an even 6, 225, originally signed by the A's in '94, made it to the A's in '99, then went to the Padres for 2 years, then to the Orioles, and this his second year with Cincinnati. So Ramon, right-hand batter waiting, and Billingsley comes to him with a fastball for a strike, and the count 0-1. Hernandez backs out for the moment. He was a free agent at the tender age of 18 when the A's signed him in Venezuela. Strike 1 pitch on the way, foul back, 0-2. Ramon and Miguel Tejada are best friends. In fact, each named the other as his son's godfather. Now the strike 2 pitch coming up. Hernandez takes low and inside, ball 1. Ramon hitting .305. He has a half a dozen home runs and 39 runs batted in. He's hit safely in 11 of his last 14 appearances. He had been on the DL. The 1-2 pitch, the right-hand hitter hits a one-hopper to Gibbons. It gets away from him. He picks it up and lobs it to Billingsley in time for the out. So it's been a while for Jay Gibbons to play first base, and he fought that thing to the death, and then he got it to Billingsley, and at the end of an inning and a half, 1-0 Dodgers. the wildness of Johnny Cueto causing him to give up the run. He made 33 pitches in the first inning. To put that in proper perspective, Chad Billingsley has made 29 pitches in 2 innings. So Brad Osmus, who was behind the plate last night and went 2 for 3, and was behind the plate the night before against the Rockies and went 1 for 3, fouls it back 0-1. So Brad hitting 209 with an RBI. Then it'll be Billingsley in the top of the order, Ryan Theriot. Johnny Cueto comes back 0-1. Fastball off the plate. 1-1. No problem with the velocity. He's anywhere from 92 to 96, but he's been wild. The 1-1 pitch on the way is taken for a strike. 1-2, and he came back at 95. So Brad Osmus battling Johnny Cueto. The Reds know that the Cardinals beat the Giants. Slider misses way off the plate, 2-2. So for the moment, the Cardinals are 4 back. Last time the Reds were in first place leading by 5, you have to go back to 1995. Here's the 2-2 pitch, swung on, sliced wide of first, fielded by Phillips, throws to his pitcher, covering in time for the out. What a play. Brandon Phillips, while sitting down, lobbed that ball perfectly for Johnny Cueto. Joey Votto had left his position, and first base was not covered, but a fine combination job, Brandon Phillips and Johnny Cueto. Phillips, by the way, has a Gold Glove, so he's no surprise at that end. So 4-1 if you're scoring, and Chad Billingsley coming up. Cueto turns on the rubber and deals, and the pitch is in for a strike. Cueto on the road has been remarkable. Johnny turns in his strike 1 pitch, fastball in there. Last few starts on the road, Cueto is 3-0 and an earned run average of 0.5 run. Now the strike 2 pitch misses. 1-2 the count. Ryan Theriot waiting on deck. This is the 10th meeting between the two clubs. In fact, check me, the 8th. Tomorrow will be the 9th. They've played each other 6 times in Cincinnati. The 1-2 pitch swung on, hard ground ball, again smothered by Phillips. Votto gets back to the bag in time to handle the throw. That's the toughest play, and Joey Votto could write a book on it. When to go after the ground ball and when not to. He's been caught twice, but he's okay. A reminder, you can enjoy the excitement of Viva Los Dodgers every Sunday, and this weekend the party includes a pregame concert by Aquid and Sporty Loco, presented by State Farm and Telemundo's Moon 2. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. 1-0 Dodgers, 2 out, bases empty, and here's Ryan Theriot, who flied to right field in the first inning. Theriot hitting .285, takes a strike, 0-1 the count. Theriot last night in the 3rd inning with Jamie Carroll at 3rd and 2 out. Theriot bunted for a base hit, and Carroll scored the only Dodger run. When asked about it after the game, Joe Torre said, no, he did it on his own. He always knows what he's doing, whether it's offense or defense. Quite a tribute to Jamie Carroll and to Ryan Theriot especially. Strike 2 pitch is whacked down the left field line and gone into the seats. Home run for Theriot, his 2nd of the year. And the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead. For Johnny Cueto, the 13th home run that he has allowed. So last night it was a bunt single that produced a run. Tonight he hits it in the 2nd row of the seats inside the foul pole in left field. Well, things are merry-o for Ryan Theriot, getting the 5s, the hugs, and the grins in the dugout. And the Dodgers lead 2-0. And the batter now will be Andre Ethier, who singled in the first inning. Cueto's fastball in at the knees, and the count 0-1. Ryan Theriot hit a home run earlier this year in July at Houston when he was with a Cub. Meanwhile, with all the fuss and feathers in the dugout, somewhat lonely figure, and your heart goes out to him, and that's Russell Martin. Martin likes to feel like he's one of the guys. He's wearing the uniform. And of course, you can imagine how frustrated he is. The pitch of the plate makes the count 1-2. And of course, the team will leave, go on the road. Russell will stay home with his crutches and be checked out again. They can't tell you much about his injury until the swelling goes down. Ethier fouls it away. 1-2. So there's some comfort, although it has to be slight, for Russell Martin to suit up and hang out with the guys during the game. Andre Ethier batting .298. Cueto ready, and John delivers, and that swung on and fouled away deep in the lower deck. Still 1-2. So Cueto was wild in the first inning, 3 walks and a single, and then damaged by a home run by Ryan Theriot with 2 out in the second. Ethier waiting, 1-2. Cueto comes right back, and it's just outside on a check swing. No swing, says Doug Eddings, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Manny Ramirez waiting on deck. Cueto tying the laces on his right shoe, so timeout for the moment. 2 runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 1 hit for the Reds. Cueto ready. John delivers, and that's lifted to dead center. Back goes Stubbs to the track at the wall. Gone. And the Dodgers lead 3-0. Andre Ethier hits one over the center field wall. His 19th home run, 69 runs batted in. And for Andre, his last home run had been against John Lannon, August the 6th against Washington. So a big inning for the Dodgers. Back-to-back home runs by Ryan Theriot and Andre Ethier. And now here is Manny, who struck out in the first inning. Cueto delivers and gets ahead with a strike, and the count 0-1. Manny out of the box now, back up to the plate. 2 out and 2 in, and the Dodgers lead 3-0. Cueto comes back, slider grounded to the right side. Brandon Phillips is on him out, and that's the inning. But what an inning for the Dodgers, having so much trouble scoring. Home run from Ryan Theriot and a home run by Andre Ethier. Theriot in the second row of seats in left. Ethier clears the barrier in center, and the Dodgers lead 3-0. Theriot hit a home run. No surprise that Andre Ethier would hit a home run, but it is a surprise. It's only the second back-to-back home runs all year for the Dodgers. The last time you have to go all the way back to early April when Andre Ethier homered, followed by Mac Kemp's home run. Now that's a bigger shock than Theriot's home run. 1-1 the count now to Paul Janisch, the shortstop. He takes low ball 2. Paul went to school at Rice University, played shortstop, and was a pitcher. And they say when he pitched, he was clocked at 94. And then you read that he had Tommy John surgery, and you figure he hurt his arm throwing, and that's not the case. The 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed, 2-2. Janisch 5 years ago was hurt in a collision at first base when he was playing at Dayton. Tore a ligament in the arm and had to have the Tommy John surgery. 2-2 pitch to Paul, waved at and foul tip. Nope. Down he goes. Janisch kind of turned and looked at the plate umpire. Second strikeout for Chad Billingsley. And the batter will be Johnny Cueto. Chasing a pitch in the dirt. And Janisch waiting and then gets the bad news. So here comes Cueto. John hitting 125. Cueto with the bat. He has 5 hits. So that makes him trouble. And the first pitch he shows bunt, takes a strike. Johnny Cueto has 5 hits, 2 runs batted in. Right-hand hitter. Billingsley comes right back. Fastball in there. 0-2. So Chad pitching hard. The good folks in Defiance, I'm sure, listening or watching in Ohio. The strike 2 pitch coming up. Cueto waves at it. He's history. Down he goes. Third strikeout for Chad Billingsley. And the batter now will be Brandon Phillips. Dodgers 3 runs, 3 hits. Ethier has a single and a home run, and Ryan Theriot has a home run. Brandon Phillips grounded to short in the first inning, 0 for 1. Brandon Phillips got his Gold Glove in 2008. Billingsley ready and delivers off speed, a changeup, and it's popped in the air to right field. Theriot out, Ethier in, and Ethier makes the catch. So Billingsley takes a lot off it, and Phillips popped it up. And at the end of 2.5 innings, Dodgers 3, Reds nothing. doesn't get in the way of the play, but you just got to hear it. It's a true story. The Dodgers were in Cincinnati playing the Reds, so it's rather appropriate. And Marge Schott owned the Cincinnati Ball Club. Gibbons takes a strike. Marge Schott had a famous dog, a big dog, a St. Bernard, called Shotzi. Strike one pitch is swung on, hit the dead center. Stubbs goes back, his head hits the top of the wall, and goes out for a home run. Jay Gibbons hits the very top of the center field wall, and it carries out, and the Dodgers lead 4-0. It is the Dodgers' third home run tonight. Theriot, Ethier, and Gibbons. And the batter now will be Matt Kemp. Gibbons got a break. I mean, the ball could have come back for sure. It landed right on top of the fence, bounced high in the air. Stubbs waited for it to come to him, and it went out. So 4-0 Dodgers, and the batter will be Matt Kemp. All right, let's go back. The Reds are owned by Marge Schott. She has a big dog named Shotzi. Kemp fouls it away. Dodgers are in Cincinnati. Marge Schott comes down on the field, turns the dog loose during batting practice, and goes to the Dodger dugout to sit down and talk with Tommy Lasorda. Strike one pitch is high, 1-1. A Dodger player who shall remain nameless, in good taste, came up the steps of the dugout and saw Mrs. Schott talking to Tommy and saw her dog running all around the field. Kemp fouls it off, 1-2. The player went back to the clubhouse and got a Baby Ruth candy bar. Now, if you saw Caddyshack, you know what's going to happen. He got the Baby Ruth candy bar, and he came back up the steps. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Kemp. Ground ball foul. Thanks, Matt, for letting us tell the story. Still 1-2. Anyway, the player then came up, made sure that Mrs. Schott could see him, and then slowly walked out to third base, and he dropped the Baby Ruth candy bar by the bag. Kemp fouls another one off. Then he went out in the outfield for a minute. Now he came running back, and he kind of made sure that both Marge Schott and Tommy Lasorda were looking at him. And when he got to third base, he bent down and picked up the Baby Ruth. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Kemp. Swung on a high fly ball into deep left field. Matt Kemp has hit it out, and the Dodgers lead 5-0, and the Reds are going to the Dogs. Home runs by Theriot, Ethier, Gibbons, and Kemp, and the Dodgers are on the board big time, 5-0, and Casey Blake will be coming up. Well, whatever's left of the story, you can almost imagine it yourself. The Dodger player then came jogging back to the dugout, made sure Mrs. Schott was looking, and he bent down and picked up the Baby Ruth and took a huge bite out of the candy bar. Mrs. Schott did not think it was a candy bar because her dog had been all over the field. And she turned wide-eyed to Tommy Lasorda and said, "That boy is going to be very sick." But he never got sick. Nobody got anything but a few laughs when they found out about it. And right now it is 5-0 Dodgers. They scored 1 in the first, 3 walks and a single. Theriot and Ethier homered in the second. Gibbons and Kemp homer in the third. And it's 5-0 L.A. Mike Leake is in the bullpen. And the pitch now to Casey Blake, a strike, 0-1 to count. 5 runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. Now Cueto's strike one pitch is in there. So it'll show you what will happen to a very good pitcher. He was 11-3, but he missed a start from the suspension. Hadn't pitched in 10 days, and they're just starting to jump on him. The strike 2 pitch on the way. Little comebacker. Cueto has it, takes his time before firing to first, and Casey Blake makes the first out. And the batter will be Jamie Carroll.
Batting next, shortstop number 14, Jamie Carroll.
5 runs, 5 hits, and 4 of them home runs. So the Dodgers shocking their fans tonight. Jamie Carroll hit into a force play in the first inning, so Jamie is 0 for 1. Carroll batting .283. Cueto delivers, fastball for a strike. 0-1. So at bark at the park, the Dodger bite is better than the bark, and they're leading 5-0. The strike one pitch on the way, breaking ball in there. So Cueto, one of those rare situations where he's out in front of the hitter. No balls and 2 strikes. Cueto comes back 0-2, and he's down and away, ball 1. So Matt Kemp hitting one out. In looking back, Terrio hit his second. For Gibbons, that would be his second. For Ethier, that was his 19th. Fly ball to right field. Jay Bruce is there. That's the second out. So 2 down, and Brad Osmus coming up. You know, the Dodgers face the Phillies Tuesday, August 31st. The first 20,000 fans in attendance take home a My Town cooler bag, compliments of Farmer John. To secure your seat, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. So here's Osmus, grounded out. That's when Votto went after it, didn't get it. Phillips made a great stop on the grass, and while sitting down, Phillips arched the ball to his pitcher Cueto covering. That was a fine play. Then Brandon had to make another good stop on a ball hit by Billingsley, but nothing could take the home runs away, and the Dodgers lead 5-0. The strike one pitch to Osmus, inside under the hands. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cueto checking. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Fastball in there, 1-2. If the Reds lose tonight, remember the Cardinals won 5-1, so things will tighten up a little bit. It would go to 3.5. So this is a long way finished in the Central. Pitch off the plate. One thing for Cincinnati, and it has to be a comfort, they have somewhat of a weak September. Weak in the sense playing teams that are 500 or under. And the pitch to Osmus swung on and missed. But nevertheless, when things get tight, they get tight no matter whom you're playing. Meanwhile tonight, Messrs. Gibbons and Kemp join Messrs. Terrio and Ethier, hitting them every which way for home runs. And at the end of 3, 5-0 Dodgers.
Dodgers Autograph Baseball. To enter, mail a postcard to KCAL 9 TV with the name of the prize you see on the screen, the inning, and the date. Go to kcal9.com/prize vault for more information.
Dodgers pound Johnny Cueto and lead 5-0 in the 4th inning. Drew Stubbs a strike. Stubbs had to be startled on that home run by Gibbons that came down and hit the very top of the wall. He expected it to kick back, and it went out. 1-1. That was a 19-pitch inning for Johnny Cueto. His career high, 4 home runs in a game, but tonight a career low, 4 home runs in 2+ innings. 2-1 the count. Stubbs singled in the 1st inning, so Billingsley certainly has a cushion to lean on. Ball 3. If you're interested in the Central Division and the Cardinals and the Reds, we mentioned that the Cardinals beat the Giants today, and Dusty has 3 games left with St. Louis. 3-1 pitch. Ball 4, so Stubbs draws the walk. Anyway, the Reds have 3 games left with the Cardinals, and you might say, well, how have they played St. Louis? And the answer is, they have certainly not played them well. Dusty's Reds have lost 10 of 15 to St. Louis. And if they lose tonight, the lead will be 3.5, and things will certainly tighten up for a young ball club. After the walk to Stubbs, Votto takes ball 1. That'll give us a chance to tell you the Brewers have done it again. They beat the Padres 6-5, and for the 2nd straight night, the Padres let a lead get away. Last night it was 5-2. Tonight they led 3-0, but the Bruins knocked out Kevin Correa. Ryan Braun had a home run, made a great catch in left field. Matt Stairs hit a 2-run coming up to tighten it up. And then Trevor Hoffman looking for save number 599, but instead it was someone else. Meanwhile, on that throw to center field, Stubbs will advance to 3rd. With the runner going, Ausmus came up. He's bounced one throw, this one way off the mark. So it'll be a stolen base for Stubbs, and the error charge to Brad Ausmus. For Brad, he had trouble on the stolen base, remember, in the 1st inning, but no error. So a runner at 3rd, nobody out. 5-0 favor of the Dodgers. 4th inning. 2-1. Votto hitting .319, looking for his first hit in the series. 3-1 the count to Joey. Though Billingsley walks Stubbs, he steals 2nd, goes to 3rd on the overthrow, and he's behind 3-1 to Votto. Hard ground ball will get a run in. Terrio will throw to 1st. So 1 away. You know, our text question, and talking about the Central Division rivalry, which team do you think will wind up winning the National League Central? The Reds or the Cardinals? Remember, we gave you that information. Cardinals have beaten the Reds 10 out of 15. They have 3 games left, and if the Reds lose tonight, their lead will be cut to 3.5. Well, with all of that to think about, there's a one hopper into right field for a base hit for Scott Rowland. Text your answer to 86212 on your cell phone. So Dodgers lead 5-1, and Johnny Gomes coming up as Rowland stands at 1st. Gomes struck out in the 2nd inning. John is 1 for his last 20, so his average at 262. Strike, breaking ball. 0-1 the count. Scott Rowland held on at first. Tried to hold up, couldn't do it. That's a strike. A few years ago in the American League, he finished third in the Rookie of the Year voting behind Houston Street and Robinson Cano. He had 20 home runs for the Reds last year. And down he goes, striking out a second time, and that horrific slump continues. So Billingsley now has 4 strikeouts. Dodgers leading 5-1 on 4 home runs, believe it or not. Jay Bruce flied to center in the second inning. Bruce followed by the catcher Ramon Hernandez. And ball 1. For Billingsley, he has worked very easily, made only 38 pitches in the first 3 innings. 38 and 3. Cueto made 33 in the first inning alone. In the dirt. So Billingsley breezing pretty well. Finally walked somebody, the stolen base in the error, and the ground ball got a run in. Now trying to get the 3rd out here in the 4th inning. 5-1 Dodgers. Two and 0. And a strike. Bruce 13 home runs, so he can get him back in the game with 1 swing. Bruce is a Texan. He's from Beaumont. In fact, last night we were mentioning how many guys were from Texas, and it turns out 7 of the 25 are from that one state. 2-1 to Jay Bruce. 2-2. Jay Bruce facing Chad Billingsley. Bruce is only 23, and he was a first-round pick, so he commands a lot of respect. He had 22 home runs last year, 21 the year before, and 13 right now. Down he goes. So Billingsley strikes out Bruce. That gives him 5 strikeouts. And at the end of 3.5, Dodgers 5, Reds 1. Every day is routinely spectacular. And by Time Warner Cable. Get TV, internet, and home phone delivered over an advanced fiber optic network from Time Warner Cable. 5-1 in favor of the Dodgers on a beautiful evening. 78 degrees when the game started. And Mike Leake coming out of the bullpen to pick up for a hard-pressed Johnny Cueto. Leake is another young arm on the Red squad. Very impressive. He's 8-4. He's from Fallbrook. Went to Arizona State. Works very much in a hurry. 2-1 to count. Leake will be 23 in November. Ball 3. 6'1", 190. He not only played baseball in high school, but as a freshman and sophomore, he played center midfield on the soccer team, and he was point guard on the basketball team. Nice stop by Giannis, and Billingsley, who is running slowly down the line, is thrown out. So Billingsley losing a base hit on a fine play by Paul Giannis. Chad, of course, working a hard 4 innings, so he's not flying down the line. He's barely jogging, and Giannis got him. So 1 away. And as Billingsley goes back to the dugout, they're booing him a little bit for not running all out. The batter is Ryan Theriot, flied to right and homered to left. Strike. Cueto made 74 pitches, went 3 innings, allowed 5 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 1 strikeout. One ball, 1 strike, fouled off. We were talking about Mike Leake. Baseball, soccer team, point guard on the basketball team. He punted, kicked, and played defensive back on the football team. Took a baseball scholarship from Arizona State. Fly ball to right. Coming in for it is Jay Bruce. 2 down. So he's quite an athlete out there in the mound, Mike Leake. At Arizona State, he majored in management. His Sun Devils coach, Pat Murphy, also said Leake could have been the team's best defensive third baseman or shortstop. So he's got all kinds of credentials. In for a strike. Andre Ethier single to center and homer to center. 0-1. Going after a pitch away and hits it foul and out of play. Mike Leake with a record of 8-4 went to the bullpen and got a call. When he signed with the Reds, it was a headline signing. Almost hit Ethier. He was the #1 pick just last year and signed for about $2.2 million. So that's what they think of him. 1-2. And down goes Ethier. Down go the Dodgers as Leake restores order immediately. And at the end of 4, 5-1 Dodgers.
brought to you by Carl's Jr. $6 burgers made with 100% Black Angus beef. By State Farm. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. And by Dodge. Visit us at dodge.com or see your local dealer today.
Dodgers lead 5-1 as we go to the fifth inning. Chad Billingsley has made 57 pitches. Was a little weary when he hit that ground ball up the middle and jogging to first base. The crowd got on him a little bit, but you can understand he's trying to conserve his energy to do what he does best. Get that ball to the plate. Ramon Hernandez, the catcher, and a strike. Then Yanish, and we will see about Mike Leake. 5 runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers, and if you weren't here, Dodgers have hit 4 home runs tonight. One and one. Ryan Theriot and Andre Ethier are back-to-back in the second inning. Jay Gibbons and Matt Kemp back-to-back in the third. So the Dodgers had back-to-back home runs way back in April, and now they have it twice in 3 innings. 1 and 2. So the 11-game winner, Johnny Cueto, pays the price, I'm sure, of the suspension, the layoff, and he was sent out on his shield. And that's going to be hit to center, base hit. The leadoff man reached in the 4th inning on a walk and scored. That was Stubbs. Now Hernandez leads off with a single in the 5th. And the batter is Yanish. Paul struck out in the 3rd inning. Fastball whacked to left and down the line. Manny over to get it. Stopping at second is Hernandez. So suddenly Billingsley gives up back-to-back singles, and Mike Leake will be coming up. And don't forget, bring your kids to Dodger Stadium, and with a purchase of every adult ticket on the field or loge level, kids 14 and under are just $5. For details, visit Dodgers.com/specials. So a little concern, even though they're leading by 4, as the Dodgers see Billingsley give up singles to center and left. Mike Leake coming up in what they figure will be a bunt situation. Mike Leake with the bat has a half a dozen sacrifices, so he's pretty good at it. He misses that, fouls it actually, 0-1. You know the amazing thing about Mike Leake, he made his major league debut April the 11th pitching against the Cubs. He became the first pitcher since Ariel Prieto in 1995 to make his major league debut without spending a day in the minor leagues. The bunt fouled at the plate, 0-2. How high are the Reds on Mike Leake? Well, Walk Jocketty, the general manager, said, quote, "If we sent him down, I don't know what we would have told him to work on." So Dusty has a bit of a prodigy here. 0-2 the count. See if the bunt is still on with 2 strikes. He's showing bunt. And it got him anyway, the curveball, as he pulled the bat out. So down goes Mike. Big out, 1 down, failure to advance. And the batter will be Brandon Phillips. For Billingsley, he now has 6 strikeouts while allowing 4 hits and 1 run. Phillips grounded to short, fly to right. So he had base hits his first 3 at-bats last night, then made out the last 2. So his last 4 at-bats have not been productive. And ball 1. Brandon hitting .284, 14 home runs, 48 runs batted in. Phillips has had a lot of trouble against Billingsley in the past, and he is 3 for 18. That's a strike. 1-1. Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto rank 1-2 in the National League in runs scored. You have to go back 28 years to find 2 fellas with the Reds who did that. Pete Rose and Johnny Bench. And a fly ball to right. Ethier is there, and the runners have to hold. So 2 down, and the batter will be Stubbs.
Putting in center fielder, Drew Stubbs.
Drew Stubbs has singled, walked, stolen a base, and scored the run for the Reds. Stubbs made his major league debut on the 19th of August last year. 0-1. So he celebrated the anniversary just a couple of days ago before he got here. Stubbs, 25 years old. He's from Texarkana, Texas. 0-2. And he was a #1 pick 4 years ago out of the University of Texas. He was a highly rated quarterback in high school. He was a member of 2 state champion relay teams, and he also played basketball. His father ran track at Louisiana Tech. Check. 1-2 the count. So you know that Stubbs can run well, and sure enough, when you look it up, you find out he's stolen 19 out of 22. So 2 down, 5th inning, 5-1 Dodgers. On deck, Joey Votto, though Billingsley would certainly like to end the inning now. And he does, as young Stubbs strikes out, which means Votto will come up with the bases empty. And at the end of 4 1/2, 5-1 Dodgers. They have done the job on home runs. It started in the second inning. Ryan Theriot hit one in the second row in left field for a home run. Andre Ethier hit one of those, no doubt about it, over the center field wall. And then in the third inning, leading off, Jay Gibbons bounced one over the wall. That was a home run. And then Matt Kemp followed with a blast into the pavilion in left. So the Dodgers with 4 home runs tonight, lead 5-1. And as Andre Ethier and Matt Kemp sit quietly in the dugout, Manny Ramirez coming up. 4 home runs in 2 weeks and 4 home runs in 3 innings tonight. Ball 1 to Manny. Struck out, grounded out, 0 for 2. Off the plate, 2-0 the count. We were telling you about Mike Leake as he works on Manny. Leake, a very interesting story about a kid coming from college right to the big leagues. Fouled away. His brother Ryan is the pitching coach at UC San Diego. And Ryan tells the story of Mike Leake in spring training getting ready to pitch to Ken Griffey Jr. And he hit Ken Griffey Jr. on the ankle with a slider. And after the game, Ryan asked Mike if he lost control because he was facing a player whose posters covered the walls of his childhood reign. Check swing, Manny's done, down he goes. And when Ryan asked Mike Leake about hitting Ken Griffey, was it because you were overwhelmed facing such a superstar? And Leake said, heck no, I was trying to strike him out, and I should have struck him out. Well, that's the kind of thinking this young fella has brought to the game and brought it to the big leagues. Mike Leake, L-E-A-K-E. 0-1. You have a young pitcher like Rick Porcello with the Tigers over in the American League, coming in a hurry. Steven Strasburg trying to do it in Washington. And there is Mike Leake. There have been quite a few precocious pitchers. There have been 10 since 1965 who made their debut as starters without appearing in the minor leagues at all. Steve Dunning, he came up with the Indians 7 years. Record was 23-41. Pete Broberg had an 8-year career with the Washington Senators, but he was 41-71. He didn't do too well at all. Bert Hooton came up to the Cubs. Bert had a 15-year career, a good portion of it with the Dodgers. Bert wound up winning 151 games. Then there were fellas like David Clyde. Remember him with the Rangers? Shot up the middle, and it's a base hit. So Gibbons has a walk, a home run, and now a single. And the batter will be Matt Kemp.
Number 27, Matt Kemp.
Mike Morgan made his debut in 1978. Mike at 18 had a 22-year career. Anyway, that's some of the names, some of the 10 of the fellas who made their big league debut without ever pitching in the minors. That's a strike to Matt Kemp. Kemp walked and homered, 1 for 1. Dodgers 5, Reds 1, bottom of the 5th inning. Oh, and 2. One thing, when the Reds came here, everybody was talking about the great young arms featured by the Reds. And the Dodgers counted with Monasterio and Billingsley tonight and Kershaw tomorrow. Some pretty fine young talent there. Well, the Reds so far tonight are 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position, and they are 2 for 15 in the series. So it's been the Dodger young pitching that has shut down Joey Votto and company, at least for the moment. 0-2. Tomorrow, 22-year-old Clayton Kershaw. He'll go against the veteran Bronson Arroyo. 0-2 to Matt. Fast one with a good sink to it. Down he goes. So Leake has struck out 3. And here's a look at how our text message voting is going so far. We asked you, which team do you think will wind up winning the National League Central, the Reds or the Cardinals? Well, the early voting, 57% say the Cardinals. Text your answer, 86212 on your cell. That's a dandy, and it's going to be a dandy of a race. To repeat, the Cardinals have beaten the Reds head-to-head 10 out of 15, and they have 3 left. And if the Dodgers win tonight, the Cardinals won this afternoon, the Reds lead would be 3.5, and Dusty might need a couple of toothpicks to chew on between now and the end. But as we said, it's a somewhat soft month of September for Cincinnati. That's a drive to the gap, and it's going to roll to the wall. So here comes Gibbons being waved in on a long double by Casey Blake, and the Dodgers lead 6-1. So Blake doubles in the alley. Dodgers add the lead 6-1 for Casey Blake, his 21st double, 49th run batted in. Jay Gibbons having a big night so far with a walk, a home run, and a single. He has scored twice. And now Jamie Carroll. That's right. Hit foul down the line, out of play. Whenever you have a young pitcher who has received such a huge bonus as Mike Leake, the first thought you have is, how many innings are you going to let him pitch, especially in his first year? Well, he came in having made 135 innings under his belt. Ground ball, base hit. Well, here comes Blake. The throw to the plate, not in time. Down to second goes Carroll, and the Dodgers lead 7-1. So Dusty Baker is going to have the same pressure that's put upon Bud Black in San Diego. They're counting every precious inning turned in by Mike Latos. The Reds are counting every precious inning used up by Mike Leake. And we still have a bit to go in August and all of September. And of course, there's more pressure on the Reds than the Padres have from the Giants. 0-1. Hosmus grounded out, struck out, 0 for 2. Boy, when was the last time the Dodgers had a so-called laugher? Maybe that game in Philadelphia on the road, they won 10-5. Have we had any wilder than that? It's 7-1 Dodgers here in the 5th inning. Casey Blake with a reason to smile. Ball 2, 2-1. sinker miss. Ball 3. Leake is listed at 190. When he was a freshman in high school, he weighed about 160 tops. And he now walks Osmus. So he started out, he came in, retired the side in the 4th, and then struck out Ramirez, and since then he struggled. A single to Gibbons, a double for Blake, a single to Carroll. Dusty's off the chair, and when he's off the chair, he's unhappy. So here's Billingsley with 2 out and 2 on, leading 7-1. Chad has grounded out twice. Right. We were talking about the 10 pitchers who went from amateur to ball right to the big leagues. The last one to do it, you may remember, was Jim Abbott out of Michigan. For the Angels in 1989, Jim was 12-12. But maybe the biggest horror story for a young fella doing a similar jump was David Clyde, who was out of the game within 6 years of his debut. Left arm ruined for good. Well, down goes Billingsley and the Dodgers, but not before they add 2 and lead 7-1. A pitcher, he certainly knows the territory, and on this day in 1983, Rick made his debut as a Dodger pitcher, had 7 shutout innings to beat Philadelphia. Tom Niedenfuer came in and pitched the last 2 innings. Rick Honeycutt had 109 victories in a 21-year career, so he brings a lot to the mound every time he goes out there. Let's go back to this one. Rick right now enjoying the luxury of a pitching coach who has a pitcher pitching well and a pitcher who is leading 7-1. Rick started his career with Seattle, played with Texas, Dodgers, Oakland. First pitch strike to Joey Votto. That was a big out when Billingsley struck out Stubbs. Otherwise, Votto comes up with men on. Joey is hitting .318. Check swing strike, and the count 0-2. Dodgers shut him down last night, struck him out twice. He hit into a double play, went 0 for 4, and he is 0 for 2 tonight. He did have a stolen base. slaps to the hole by the diving Blake. So Votto comes up with his first hit, punching it the other way. And the batter will be Scott Rowland.
Batting next, third baseman, Scott Rowland.
So an all-out effort as usual by Casey Blake. That is the 5th hit for the Reds. They had 2 hits but drew blanks in the 5th inning. Rowland popped up. He had a 9-pitch at bat in the 1st inning, and then in the 4th inning, single to right field. Strike. 0-1. Dodgers and Reds tomorrow afternoon. Bronson Arroyo and Clayton Kershaw. Hope you make your plans to be out here with us. After tomorrow's game, the Dodgers hit the road, going to Milwaukee and Colorado. 0-2. Dodgers come home to open up a 3-game series with the Phillies on August 30th. 3 with the Phils, 3 with the Giants. Then the club goes back out on the road to San Diego and Houston. Travis Schlichting gets up in the Dodger bullpen. 1-2 the count. Schlichting just called up yet again. Dodgers used Belisario, Jansen, and Dotel last night. So in the middle game, they get Schlichting up. 1-2 to Rowland. Fouled off. Reds have a 7-game winning streak on the line. Seven to 1 Dodgers. Top of the 6th. Little roller. Casey charging, scoops, throws on the run to get him. And on the play, Votto advances to second. So 1 out in the 6th inning, and Johnny Gomes coming up. And of course, the theory that we told you about gets to become a heavy load now for Johnny Gomes. The idea that he's in a terrific slump because he has 99 career home runs. He's trying to hit 100, and it's a struggle. Tonight he struck out twice, so he's 1 for 21. Fouled away. Well, of course, they're not making a big fuss over Johnny Gomes' 100 home run. But you can understand what happened with Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, trying to get to number 600, and every at-bat people kept watching and waiting. And pop fly, really, and Matt Kemp coming in a hurry, and he can't make the play. And going over to third base is Votto. So a little fly ball single. Boy, you don't think Johnny Gomes will throw that back. He will embrace it. He was 1 for 21. And if you know ball players at all, Gomes will take that as a good sign that the pop fly single means the drought is over. So first and third, 1 out, and Jay Bruce the batter. Billingsley has been doing what good pitchers do, getting ahead of the hitters most of the night. He's had 17 first pitches, facing 23 batters. He's had 9 no ball 2-strike counts. Misses there. He's only had 3 3-ball counts. 2 on, 1 out, 7-1 Dodgers. We're in the 6th. Fastball and foul. 1-1. Jay Gibbons over there at first base, as we mentioned earlier, has played the position 75 times in his career, but he hasn't played it in several years. 7 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 6 hits for the Reds, and we're sitting in the 6th. Fly ball to right field. Ethier instinctively started back. Tagging up at third is Votto. The throw to the plate is cut off. Joey scores standing up, and the Dodger lead is now 7-2 as Bruce picks up the run batted in. So the batter now will be Ramon Hernandez, the veteran catcher, who has grounded out and singled 1 for 2. Ryan Hannigan caught last night, and Hannigan went 2 for 4. Hernandez singled last time up. Off the plate, ball 1. For Billingsley, he had made 72 pitches coming into the 6th inning, being backed up by Schlichting. One ball and no strikes. 1-1. Billingsley's been working on a cutter, and he just served that one up to Hernandez. Not the big break like a slider, not the overhand break like the curveball. The cutter just jumps a few inches. 1-1. Fastball slapped down the right field line. Ethier can't cut it off. It does come back to him. And here comes Gomes to the plate to score on the double by Hernandez. So the Reds trying to get off the floor, make it 7-3 now. And that's the 3rd hit in the inning, giving up by Chad Billingsley. And the Cincinnati catchers, Hannigan 2 hits last night, and Hernandez 2 hits and a run batted in tonight. So 7-3 Dodgers. Little concern in the Dodger dugout. Paul Yanish coming up, and so's Joe Torre. So they had Schlichting up, and they're going to the pen. Billingsley made 88 pitches and runs out of gas here in the 6th inning. And we'll be back.
And the date. Go to kcal9.com/prizevault for more information.
Dodgers trying to hang on what was now 7-3 lead, and they bring in Travis Schlichting, who was recalled yesterday from Albuquerque for the 4th time this season. So you talk about whether you know the way to San Jose. He certainly knows the way between Albuquerque and Los Angeles. Travis, 6'4", 200-pounder, 25 years old, born in Denver, and he's a Texan now, lives in Round Rock, Texas. Grew up there, went to high school there, and was originally drafted by the Rays. Schlichting last year was invited to the Major League camp in spring training, but he had a bulging disc in his back. A strike to Paul Janisch, who has struck out single to left. Waiting on deck, the left-hand hitting Lance Nix. The Nix would come up there and bat for Leake if given a chance. Nix played last night and went 1 for 4 with a walk. 1-1 to Janisch. Paul has struck out and singled. Schlichting got into the Dodger organization just 2 years ago at Jacksonville. Was in 2 games last year. 1-2. So Chad Billingsley went 5 2/3, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 7 strikeouts and 1 walk in 88 pitches. Hernandez at second base is his responsibility. 1-2. Missed with the fastball. 2-2. Backing up Schlichting in the Dodger bullpen, you have George Sherrill and Ronald Belisario. Sherrill, as you know, the left-hander. 2-2. Light breeze blowing out towards left field. Just came up. And down goes Janisch, and that will do it for the Reds in the 6th inning. They pick up 2 on 3 hits and a sacrifice fly. Billingsley is done for the night, and the Dodgers lead 7-3. Is brought to you by your Southern California Ford dealers, where you'll find the new Transit Connect. Check it out at scforddealers.com. And by Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far. Dodgers lead the Reds 7-3 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Terrio, Ethier, and Ramirez against Mike Leake. Leake picking up for Johnny Cueto. Ground ball to Janisch. 1 pitch, 1 away. You know, there are a couple of things to give the Reds some pause tonight. Certainly disturbing for Johnny Cueto to give up 4 home runs, and then to have Leake come in the 5th inning and give up a couple. And here are some of the maddening notes for Dusty Baker to think about. Terrio's home run came on a no-ball, 2-strike pitch. Ethier homered on a 2-2 pitch after Cueto had been ahead 1-2. Gibbons hit a home run on an 0-1 pitch, and Kemp hit a 1-2 pitch for his home run. So the hitters were all behind in the count and hit a home run. There's a line drive base hit to right field as Andre Ethier now 2 singles and a home run tonight. And the batter will be Manny Ramirez. There's another thing, and it's applied to Mike Leake. He was ahead of Casey Blake, no balls and 2 strikes, when Casey Blake doubled in Jay Gibbons. And Carroll was 0-2 when he followed with a base hit. And with the Dodgers, Reed Johnson is now the batter for Manny Ramirez. 7-3 Dodgers. And there's one other note that comes as a shock to the Reds, and I'm sure their fans. The Reds are 14th in the National League in fewest home runs allowed on the road, and they've given up 4 tonight. So this is a bad night for the Reds unless they pull off a miracle, and who's to say? The Dodgers know all about the opposition pulling off a miracle. The bad memory of that 9-2 lead in Philadelphia that got away is certainly hanging out somewhere in the dugout. So here's Reed Johnson. Hit a home run the other night to give the Dodgers 2, and that was enough to win. Reed batting .302, does tremendous work against left-handers, but Reed facing right-hander Mike Leake. Down in the pen, a left-hander's warming up, Bill Bray. Fastball. They check, no swing. Seven runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers, 3 runs, 7 hits for the Reds. Billingsley with a chance to pick up his 10th. Johnny Cueto on the edge of losing his 4th. And Mike Leake trying to hold that Tiger. If Leake had not given up 2 in the 5th inning, this would really be tough. It would be a very tight game. Two and 0. Johnson, 1 home run, first of the year. The last home run was a year ago in the American League. Hard foul ball, 2-1 the count to Reed. Two and 1, you'll see if the Dodgers leading by 4 want to try hit and run. Mariana Duncan over to say something to Ethier. For Reed Johnson, he has struck out 31 times. So we'll watch Ethier. There he goes, hit and run, and a little nubber. They're going to have it fielded and thrown too late. I think it was ill-advised of young Mike Leake to pit the ball up. He might have had a shot of the ball going foul, but of course where he was sure it was going to stay fair. But he had to come all the way over here, and yeah, I guess the ball would have stayed fair. So Johnson legs it out, and the Dodgers have runners at first and second, 1 away. And the batter will be Jay Gibbons. And now Dusty Baker comes out. He's got the left-hander Bill Bray in the pen. And since he's talking to the plate umpire, that would be Kerwin Danley, you know it's a double switch. Now, the last member of the Reds to make out was Yanish, the shortstop. So we'll see how Dusty plays it. He brings in Bray. But is he going to make another switch or not? And it's going to be his catcher. Hernandez had a single and a double tonight, and he's going to be coming out. So Ryan Hannigan will bat ninth, do the catching, and lead off in the seventh inning. And you put Gray in Hernandez's spot in the lineup. And we'll be back. First and second with one out, and left-hander Bill Bray out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, but sure enough, he's another Texan now. He's from Grapevine, Texas. He went to school, however, in Williamsburg, Virginia at William and Mary, and he was a first-round pick of the Expos. Came up to the big leagues briefly with the Nationals. 6'3", 220. And 27 years old. He inherits 2 on, 1 out, and a left-hand hitter, Jay Gibbons, at the plate. Matt Kemp to follow. Breaking ball strike, 0-1 the count. Gibbons having a big night, walked, homered, and singled while playing first base. And that's popped in the air, foul behind the plate, out of play. 0-2 the count. Gibbons hitting .444. Admittedly, he hasn't had very many at-bats. Nevertheless, he has to feel pretty confident. He has Ethier at second and Johnson at first with 1 out. Drive to right field, going back is Bruce to make the catch, and the runners just hold on. So Gibbons hits the ball well, flies deep to right, and the batter now will be Matt Kemp, and here comes Dusty. So his left-hander got the out. Now you assume he will bring in a right-hander, and we'll use the time. We'll be back after this. Your Southern California Lexus dealer who invites you to test drive a luxurious Lexus today. Visit Lexus.com. And by the new King Kong 360. 3D attraction at Universal Studios Hollywood. Dodgers trying to hold on to and add to a 7-3 lead. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. So far, it's been Cueto, Lee, Bray, and now Jordan Smith. Big right-hander, 6'4", 190, only 24 years old. Born in American Fork, Nevada. Went to Community College of Southern Nevada. In fact, when he was there, he was a catcher first baseman, but he decided with his arm strength he would become a pitcher. Fastball, slider, and a changeup. And he'll be tested now by Matt Kemp. If Smith is on his game, he'll get a ground ball. That's been his strength. Instead, it's a high fly ball, but it's very playable. And that'll be that as Stubbs makes the catch. So the Dodgers get 2 hits, but nothing else. And at the end of 6, 7-3 Dodgers. Will bat 9th and lead off. The catcher had a couple of base hits last night, so he'll be going up against Travis Schlichting. Hannigan last night, single to right, single to left. And among other things we remember in last night's game, in the 8th inning he led off, flied to center, but it was a 12-pitch at bat. So you get the idea, he's a pretty patient hitter. Batting .290. Earlier this year he had broken his thumb and he was really knocking the cover off the ball. Coming back from the broken thumb, he was slow in hitting, but now he's got his average at .290 and he takes a strike. 0-1. Born in Washington D.C., he lives in Andover, Massachusetts. He's been a catcher since Little League. Went to Rollins College. 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hannigan celebrated his 30th birthday on Monday. He was out for almost 2 months with the broken left thumb. Interesting as a catcher to break the left thumb on the glove hand. And he hits a soft hopper in front of the bag. Nice hit by Jamie Carroll. So Carroll makes a good play to nip Hannigan. 1 away. Brandon Phillips shut down tonight. His first 3 trips to the plate. Phillips singled last night, drove in all 3 runs. Dodgers have shut him down since. He's 0 for 5. 3 for 8 in the series. And he hits a dunker towards left center that's going to drop. So Phillips, a little fly ball single to center, and the batter will be Drew Stubbs.
How about it, center fielder Drew Stubbs?
7 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers, 3 runs, 8 hits for the Reds. Stubbs single to center, walked, stole a base, took third on the throwing error by Ausmus, and came home on a base hit by Rowland. Last time up, struck out. And a strike. The Reds have 6 players in their starting lineup who have homered in double figures. Bruce has 13. Gomes has 13. Phillips 14. Rowland 18. Stubbs 15. And Votto 28. So they pack a lot of sock. They came in there tonight with 137 home runs. And Votto waiting on deck. Their 137 home runs match up against the Dodgers, who have hit 89, including the 4 tonight. Off the plate. 1-2 the count. 1 out, 7th inning, 7-3 Dodgers. The Reds have not won a series against the Dodgers here since 2004. Two and two, inside and outside. Travis Schlichting picking up for Chad Billingsley. Chad went 5 2/3, 88 pitches, charged with 3 runs. 2-2. Brandon Phillips over there. Certainly the Dodgers have an eye on him. He has stolen 13, but he's also been caught 9 times. Stubbs, the guy at the plate, is the one who steals the bases. He's stolen 19 out of 22. But they're still watching Phillips. Stubbs strikes out a lot, so it's hard to put a play on. Tonight, Stubbs has struck out only once, but he has struck out 126 times to lead the club. Foul back. 2-2. And ball 3. With the 126 strikeouts, Stubbs is right up there in the rate of strikeouts to plate appearances, ratio of strikeouts to walks. But again, he's just a very young player. 3-2. We'll watch Phillips. He's gone, and it's ball 4. So Dusty was running him with a strikeout hitter who walks. And first and second, 1 out. Honeycutt on the phone to the bullpen, and Joey Votto coming up, and you would figure that means George Sherrill. And it also looks like a double switch. Hung-Chi Kuo is up in the pen. James Loney going to take over at first base, So Sherrill had been up. Gibbons coming out, giving way to Loney. And while the Dodgers rearrange things, we'll be back. Votto coming up. However, Votto is left-handed, and you know how tough Hung-Chi Kuo has been on left-hand batters. So we'll see as they went head-to-head. Joey Votto is 2 for 3 in the past against Hung-Chi Kuo. So first and second, 1 out, Votto and then Rolen coming up. And Hung-Chi Kuo has taken his 8 warm-ups, and here we go. Votto was completely shut down last night. Joey went 0 for 4, hit into a double play, and he was 0 for 2 until the 6th inning tonight when he singled to left field. So Joey trying to get the Reds back in the game, and it's a very interesting confrontation. Left-handers are 4 for 49 against Kuo. That's an .082 batting average. Oh, and 1. Starts him right off with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Rolen and Gomes, right-hand hitters to follow. One and 1. Votto hitting .320. Joey with 28 home runs, 82 runs batted in. Born in Toronto, Canada. And he's got 2 men on. Phillips at second, Stubbs at first, 1 out. Curveball slapped to the hole, and it's off the glove of a diving Jamie Carroll. 1 run will score. Stubbs goes to third. It's now Dodgers 7, Reds 4. As Votto, a nice bit of hitting, just goes the other way. So the run is charged to Schlichting, and Votto's second hit and a run batted in. Ball found a hole. Carroll tried to knock it down, couldn't do it. So Kuo gives up a hit. Schlichting gives up a run. Dodgers at one time led 7-1. Now it's 7-4. And Scott Rolen. Rolen popped up after a 9-pitch at bat. Single to right and grounded to third. He is just 0 for 1 in the past against Kuo. 1 out. Kuo at 94. Rolen trying to pick up Stubbs from third, at least with a fly ball. 7 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers, 4 runs, 9 hits for the Reds. On a fastball, a one-hopper knocked down by Jamie. They get one. The throw is late, so the run scores. And now it's 7-5 in favor of the Dodgers, as Rolen hit one too hot to handle for a double play. And Jamie did get the force, but that's all. That thing was really cranked. So the old hot potato, they get the 6-4 force play, but Stubbs comes in. That run is charged to Schlichting. So Billingsley gave up 3. Schlichting gives up 2. And now here is Johnny Gomes. Struck out twice. He was 1 for 21 when he came up in the 6th inning. And he had a pop fly single. Gomes hitting .263. Foul ball, 0-1. Rolling at first with 2 out. Fastball fouled away, 0-2. Gomes hits a lot of pop flies to the infield. In fact, he's number 1 in the league in the rate of infield pop flies to plate appearances. Time. And a balk is called on Kuo. So Hung-Chi Kuo charged with a balk, and Rolen moves down to second. You can see him bend, and then that was it. And once he bent, that was considered a motion towards home plate. And when he broke it, it's the balk. For Hung-Chi Kuo, that would be his first balk. Two out. Gomes at the plate. 7-5 Dodgers. Fastball popped up back at first, down the line. A trio of Dodgers. It's Ethier. So Gomes a pop fly to right. The Reds, however, scratch back for 2, and at the end of 6.5, 7-5 Dodgers, and the crowd now asked to join in "God Bless America" and "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise in the singing of "God Bless America." Accompanied by Nancy B. Once again, please welcome Shauna Gilfates.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
With Blake, Carroll, and Ausmus facing Jordan Smith. Dodgers led a very comfortable 7-1 lead, and the Reds have come back with 2 in the 6th and 2 more in the 7th to get close. Casey Blake has walked, hit back to the box, and doubled. He scored on a single by Jamie Carroll. Casey's double chased Gibbon home, so that's how the Dodgers got what is now the difference in the game. One and one. So Jordan Smith, the 4th Cincinnati pitcher. Fastball, 2-1. Casey hitting .248, 12 home runs, 50 runs batted in. Fouled away. Jordan Smith, in the middle of June last year, came up with an elbow strain. Put him on the DL for about 2 weeks, but then they got to thinking about it and they shut him down as a precaution. Ground ball, bad hop, no play for Rowland. That thing went right on through. So for Casey Blake, he's had a walk, a single, and a double. And the batter will be Jamie Carroll. Well, here are the final numbers for our text message question. Remember, we asked you, which team do you think will wind up winning the National League Central, the Reds or the Cardinals? Earlier, the early results had the Cardinals in front. However, the final tally, 56% of you say the Reds. So considering the big turnaround, gives you an idea of how tough that race will be. We'll repeat. The Cardinals have beaten the Reds 10 out of 15, and they have 3 remaining meetings. Jamie Carroll hit into a force play, fly to right, and single to left to drive in a run. Casey Blake does not do any running. In fact, he's 0 for 4 in stolen base attempts. But you're looking here of a possible hit and run play. Ball 1 as Carroll showed bunt. You have Brad Ausmus on deck. Jamie checking with Boa. There are a couple of things to keep in mind, although there's no way you're going to understand the signs. But signs basically are built, first of all, on a signal. And it's whatever the sign is after you get that signal. So you might look, let's say, a Boa, and it's skin to skin, hand on shirt, above the bell, pull at the helmet. Somewhere in there is the key. And after that key is the sign. But it could be anything. 1 ball and no strikes. There goes the runner on a hit and run base hit into left field. And on his way to third and going in easily, Casey Blake. Again, a little bit of a strange maneuver by an opposing infield. Jamie Carroll up there, hit and run, and it's the shortstop who breaks. Most of the time, I don't know the true percentage, but most of the time, with a right-hand hitter, the second baseman breaks. With a left-hand hitter, the shortstop breaks. And we saw that work in reverse the other night, and it was a huge play against Colorado. It helped give the Dodgers a win when Tulowitzki broke and A.J. Ellis singled through the vacated spot. Otherwise, it's a double play ball. So the Dodgers have first and third, nobody out, 7th inning, 7-5 Dodgers. And here's Ausmus. Ball 1, they pitch out thinking squeeze. Arthur Rhodes, the 41-year-old phenom, the all-star, throwing in the Reds' pen. course, in talking about, let's say, the shortstop breaking to cover, it could also be based on the pitch. For instance, let's say that they might have called for a slider, figuring that Carroll would have to hit it the other way, and Brandon Phillips held his ground. So maybe it was just a bad pitch. Shortstop broke, and Jamie was able to pull it to the hole. A lot of angles to this game. 1 ball and no strikes. Slice foul. 1-1 to Brad. Would be a good moment to have Brad Osmus battling against Arthur Rhodes, where the pitcher and the hitter, 41 years old. Arthur's getting ready for James Loney, who's on deck. One ball and 1 strike. They're certainly thinking about Osmus involved in a play. Brad has struck out a little less than 25%. He does not have a sacrifice. Jamie Carroll has stolen 10 out of 12, so they have a lot of tools down there. That's fouled off. 1-2. So with nobody out, they could have had Osmus sacrifice Carroll to second. They even thought when Brad turned the bat as if they might squeeze, so they pitched out. Then they were worrying about a sacrifice to advance Carroll or even hit and run. And we'll see what Torrey selects. 1-2. Carroll not going. 2-2 the count. Jordan Smith, a big fella, a couple of years ago, torn cartilage in his knee. That was in August 2 years ago. He had surgery to repair meniscus damage. 6'4". Keeping an eye on Jamie Carroll. Well, certainly he doesn't want to go 3-2. The big pitch coming up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. High chopper to Rolen. Short hops to the plate. Not in time. Scoring is Blake, and the Dodgers lead 8-5. Tell you, that was a wonderful play by Casey Blake. Because if he hesitates a split second, Roland's going to get him. Because Roland did everything well, but Blake got a good jump running on contact and beats the throw and got a hero's welcome in the dugout. Big play by Casey. A pat on the back from Reed Johnson. A frustrated Roland. Chris Heisey is now going to come in and replace Johnny Gomes. Heisey, a right-hand batter. So Osmus aboard on a fielder's choice. Carroll goes to second. Casey Blake hustles in for the second time. Arthur Rhodes will be brought in, and we'll be back. Just a little room to breathe. They lead 8-5. Arthur Rhodes coming in with Chris Heisey at the same time. And the left-hander appeared briefly last night, worked the 10th inning, worked the 8th inning and made 10 pitches. And now he's called back in. Arthur, at 41, was an all-star. James Loney will be the batter. Brad Osmus standing at first. Jamie Carroll at second. Still nobody out. So Loney making his first appearance. Jay Gibbons started the game at first base and had a wonderful night with a walk, single, and home run. The bunt and the bat held back. 1 ball and no strikes. For Loney, who is certainly not accustomed to bunting, in fact this year, no sacrifices. So let's see. Ryan Theriot to follow. One thing about Loney, he has grounded into 12 double plays. Showing bunt, got it down foul, and a 1 ball, 1 strike count. See if they ask Loney to try to bunt again. One ball, 1 strike. Fastball and a full swing. 1-2. As far as Arthur Rhodes versus James Loney is concerned, Loney is 1 for 3, striking out the other 2 times. So they took the bunt off with 2 strikes. The infield, everybody back to a normal depth. 1-2 the count. And got him. Fastball outside corner at the knees, and down goes Loney. So Rhodes comes in, strikes out a hitter. Ryan Theriot coming up. 1 out. Theriot flied to right, homered, flied to right, grounded to short. So Ryan is 1 for 4. Theriot is 0 for 2 against Arthur Rhodes. 2 on, 1 out. Fastball, strike. 8 runs, 12 hits for the Dodgers. 5 runs, 9 hits for the Reds. Dodgers led 7-1. Reds got it to 7-5, and the Dodgers have added 1. 0-1. Fastball away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Arthur Rhodes, in his 58th game, worked 47 innings. Strikeout to walk ratio, not quite 3-1, but close enough. 1-2. Arthur got the fastball up to 90. Arthur Rhodes from Waco, Texas, is home now in Sarasota, Florida. Originally signed by the Baltimore Orioles in 1988, and he was up here 1991. 1-2. 2-2. Arthur has a brother, Ricky, who was a one-time pitcher in the Yankee and Mariners organization. So baseball runs in the family. They grew up playing sports together. Both turned pro the same year. 2-2. And a drive to left. That's over the head of Heisey, but he goes back to pick it off to the track. And the runners get back. So Theriot hits it hard. Chris Heisey, who just came into the game, made a good play. And now Andre Ethier. Andre Ethier singled in the first inning, homered over the center field wall in the second inning, struck out in the fourth, and singled to right in the sixth. So 3 for 4, and he has his average back up over 300 again with 19 home runs, 69 runs batted in. 2 out, 2 on. And a strike. Ethier is 0 for 5 against Arthur Rhodes. Carroll at second, Ausmus at first. 0-2. So Arthur comes in, strikes out Loney, gets Theriot on a long fly ball. Now trying to get Ethier and get out of the jam. And fastball gets him. So a nice job. Life begins at 41 for Arthur Rhodes. Dodgers get 1, and at the end of 7, lead 8-5.
Dodgers Autograph Baseball. To enter, mail a postcard to KCAL 9 TV with the name of the prize you see on the screen, the inning, and the date. Go to kcal9.com/prize vault for more information.
We go to the 8th inning. The Dodgers lead the Reds 8-5. Hung-Chi Kuo, remember, was brought in the 7th inning to face Votto, and Votto singled. There was a balk. He got rolling to hit into a force play and a fly ball. So we'll count the pitches. Kuo made 8 pitches in that 7th inning, and we'll see about how many he's forced to make. He did not pitch last night, and of course the night before, a magnificent effort by Ted Lilly gave the bullpen the complete night off. Kuo did pitch the 9th inning of the 10-inning game, the wild pitch game with the Rockies. Ball 1 to Jay Bruce, who has flied to center, struck out, and had a scoring fly ball. Then you have Chris Heisey, and then Yanis. Ground ball down to Jamie Carroll. 1 away. So another left-hander bites the dust, although Votto did have the left field and singled there against Kuo.
Chris Heisey.
This will be the first look we've had at Chris Heisey He's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, lives in Mechanicsburg, went to Messiah College. Lancaster and Mechanicsburg in the eastern part of Pennsylvania. Chris is an even 6, 200-pounder, leaves the bunt in Ausmus Mitt, 0-1. 25 years old. Chris will be 26 in December. Messiah College is just outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She said, I never thought I had a chance to make it. Who's going to come to Messiah College to watch me play? But they look, they come and they watch. Right, 1-2. Heisey went to 6 or 7 different tryout camps. First stop was the Reds. And while there, they watched him for the first time. And they watch him strike out. So Heisey goes down, 2 out in the 8th. Take a look at the upcoming schedule now. Tomorrow the Reds, 1 o'clock, and that'll be Branson Arroyo and Clayton Kershaw on Prime. Tuesday from Milwaukee on KCAL 9. Wednesday and Thursday from Milwaukee. Thursday 11 a.m. on Prime. And then Friday at 6, Prime in Colorado. Foul back. 0-1 the count to Paul Janisch. Struck out twice and singled, 1 for 3 and 1 for 7 in the series. Nice crowd on hand. Hope you'll be out there with us tomorrow. 0-1. Breaking ball strike. Little slider. We have 49,435. 49,435 along with several canine friends in right field. And we have not had a dog ejection to our knowledge, so they've been well behaved. Yes, isn't August the dog days? Good dog. 1-2. Ground ball to Jamie. Be that. So Crow gets 6 outs to restore order. And we're heading to the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers 8, Reds 5. Two people who have given others a tremendous amount of enjoyment. And, of course, you recognize Harrison Ford and his wife, Callista Flockhart, taken in the game. And we're taking in the bottom of the 8th inning right now. 8-5 in favor of the Dodgers. They led comfortably 1-0, 3-0, 5-0, 5-1, 7-1, and then the Reds perked up got it close 7-5, and the Dodgers picked up a big run back to a comfortable 8-5 lead. Logan Andrusek will come out of the bullpen now and pick up. So it's been Cueto, Leake, Bray, Smith, Rhodes, and Andrusek. Logan is from Texas. Aren't they all? It seems that way. If they're not from there, they live there. Born in Hallettsville, lives in Shiner. Went to McLennan Junior College, and he is big. He's 6'8" and about 220. Big overhand pitch, a curveball for a strike. Scott Posednik comes out on deck. Reed Johnson finished up for Manny Ramirez. 0-2. Logan Andrusek, only 25 years old. Fouled away, still 0-2. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Jonathan Broxton gets up, getting ready to pitch the ninth. Andrusek basically sinking fastball. He has a slider and a cutter and a changeup. And a high fly ball, but playable. Jay Bruce is right there. If you know anything about the recent Dodgers, you know that one of the perfect games thrown against them was by a Cincinnati pitcher by the name of Tom Browning. Well, Tom Browning was Logan Andrusek's coach in Sarasota and taught him, among other things, to throw a cutter. And Posednik might very well see the cutter. Scott batting .306, 5 home runs. That's not right. He has no home runs, 5 runs batted in. Of course, if you count up both teams for the full year, more impressive numbers. One and one. The cutter that Tom Browning taught Andrusek has been a big help. He was basically a sinker slider guy being hit around. That's a strike. 1-2. Earlier this year, he had a string of 20 consecutive scoreless innings. Big bouncer to Phillips for the out. 2 down in the 8th inning. Be sure to visit the official online shop of the Dodgers at Dodgers.com. You can browse the largest selection of official gear, and authentic classics for the whole family. So get your gear from the official source, the Dodgers.com shop. 2 out in the 8th. Matt Kemp walked, homered, struck out, fly to center. Matt hitting .255, 20 home runs, 68 runs batted in, and ball 1. Fastball in there. Andrusek had those 28 straight scoreless innings. Then he allowed 3 7th inning runs on the 10th of August. 2-1 to count. So Johnny Cueto, who started after a 10-day layoff and suffered, gave up 5 runs in 3 innings, including 4 home runs, right now stands to suffer the loss. Cueto, among other things, came into the game with a record of 11-3. And his last games on the road, he was 3-0 with an earned run average of about a half a run. But a 10-day layoff is a long time in the big leagues. Kemp, meanwhile, hits one foul. Count stays 2-2. By the way, when Cincinnati comes up in the 9th inning, they'll have Ryan Hanigan, Brandon Phillips, and then Drew Stubbs. And if anybody of those gets on, Joey Votto. Looking at your scorebook, and you say to yourself, when was the last time the Dodgers had a pair of back-to-back home runs in the same game? And you have to look for a while. They had back-to-back in the second inning, Terrio and Ethier. Back-to-back in the third, Gibbons and Kemp. June 29, 1996 in Colorado. Piazza and Karros in the fifth inning. Billy Ashley and Piazza in the eighth inning. So it's been a long time between doubles. But they got him tonight. Oh, and 1 to Casey. Walked, hit back to the box, doubled and singled. Blake scoring a big run in the seventh inning on that high chopper that was short hopped by Rowan, but Casey had broken on contact and beat the throw. 0-2, 49,435 out tonight. Hope you'll catch some Rays and be out with us tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Bronson Arroyo and Clayton Kershaw. Dodgers go over the 2,900,000 mark tonight. 0-2. Time. Again, every time they have time at home plate, I instinctively look to the warning track for a beach ball. You get that way? Kemp drawing a throw. 8 runs, 12 hits for the Dodgers. 5 runs, 9 hits for the Reds. But 4 home runs by the Dodgers really capture the headlines. And down goes Casey, so they leave Kemp. We are heading for the 9th inning with the Dodgers leading 8-5, and he will give the ball to big Jonathan Broxton. We'll see how it comes out. Have 49,435, most of whom welcome big Jonathan Broxton to the mound. Broxton, the 4th Dodger pitcher and the 10th pitcher in the game. Jonathan Broxton, the big thing, you look at strikeouts and walks. 21 saves, and he'll be facing Ryan Hannigan, Brandon Phillips, and then Drew Stubbs. Broxton did not pitch last night. He didn't have to pitch behind Ted Lilly. He did work 1 inning, in the Rockies-Dodgers game, the wild pitch game. And in that one inning, gave up a hit and struck out one. Ryan Hannigan came in late, grounded out in his only at bat, so he's 0 for 1, hitting .288. Dodgers trying to make tomorrow the rubber game and trying to make the Reds sit up and take notice after the Reds finally won a game here last night, snapping that losing streak of 12. And ball one. Coming into this game, the Reds had won 4 of 7. So a victory for the Dodgers tonight balances it up, 4-4. 1 ball, no strikes. Fastball in there, and he hits 93. One ball and 1 strike. Ball 2. Way off the plate. Remember, the Reds have played super on the road after the All-Star break, as Rick Honeycutt watching Broxton carefully. Reds were 13-3 on the road since the All-Star game. And one of the things we're doing very well, not giving up any home runs on the road. And boy, they were blackjacked tonight by 4. Right. So Broxton goes all the way to Hannigan with Brandon Phillips on deck. And looking at the matchups, Hannigan 0 for 1. Phillips is 3 for 7. That's better than 400. Little chopper by the mound. Theriot takes the play. So 1 out in the 9th inning. Nice play by Ryan Theriot, and the batter is Brandon Phillips. Phillips tonight grounded to short, a couple of fly balls to right, and singled to center and scored a run. So Brandon 1 for 4 as he checks in. Lance Nix on deck. Phillips batting .429 against Broxton. That 3 for 7. And ball 1. Chad Billingsley in line to pick up his 10th win. He came in 9-7 and 3-2 lifetime against Cincinnati. 1-0. High with the fastball at 95. 2-0 the count. Billingsley made 88 pitches. Schlichting 16. Quo 18. And of course the pitch count is important with one more game tomorrow. 2-0. In there. 2-1. On deck would have been Drew Stubbs, but Lance Nix is out there for him. Nix, left-hand batter. Fouled away down the line. Nix, who is waiting his turn, was 1 for 4, singled in the first inning last night and walked in the 7th. Two balls and 2 strikes. 8-5 Dodgers, 1 out in the 9th. Reds, remember, have a 7-game winning streak on the line, and the Cardinals beat the Giants. So if the Reds lose, their lead will be 3.5. Ball 3. No lead is safe. Anyone who ever lived through the Dodgers in 1951, when they led by 13.5 in August and let it get away, or who know anything about the Phillies, who led by 6.5 in 1964 with 10 games left and lost. So the Reds certainly can't take anything for granted. And that's strike 3. And Brandon said, what? Dusty Baker somewhat in shock. All Phillips can do is smile his way back to the dugout. So with 2 down in the 9th inning, the pitch seemed to run out of the zone while being inside. However, Kerwin Danley, a veteran umpire, Kerwin's been umpiring in the big leagues for 14 years. And he was a teammate of a fellow by the name of Tony Gwynn at San Diego State. Here's Jay Nix. And ball 1. So tomorrow, Bronson Arroyo and Clayton Kershaw. Want to know to Lance. He's from Texas, born in Houston, lives in Midland. He was a quarterback, and he certainly looks like a football player. Ball 2. Being a Texas boy for Lance Nix, he was originally drafted by the Rangers. 2-0 the count. And a strike. So Jonathan trying to turn out the lights with 2 out in the 9th inning. And a fly ball in the gap to left field, but moving over is Reed Johnson, and that'll be that. So Broxton gets the outs. The Dodgers 8 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. The Reds 5 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. The Reds' 7-game winning streak comes to an end. Jonathan Broxton made 16 pitches. Billingsley picked up his 10th win. Johnny Cueto suffered his 4th loss. We'll see you tomorrow. Bronson Arroyo and Clayton Kershaw. Right now, good night, everybody.